Kia ora fam, you're here on the Empire with me, your resident tech and gaming guy Dave, and this week we are jumping into a virtual reality title which I have been quite excited about for a while now. It's available exclusively on the PlayStation VR from Sony's London studio, and it's called Blood and Truth. We've been playing this on the PS4 Pro, all footage is captured from my playthrough, and this review is spoiler free, outside of a very high level description of the game's premise. Now, when the PSVR was first released in October 2016, one of the standout early experiences for me was the London heist. A relatively short experience, but one that made a heck of an impression. Even once you'd gone past the quick experience of its story, I still spent hours in the shooting gallery challenges because I was just really impressed at the mechanics of the gun handling and how satisfying it was to just play the challenge modes in the game. London Heist was also put together by London Studio and was almost a proof of concept for what they've released 2.5 years later. In this game you play as Ryan Marks, an SAS operative who finds himself thrown from Afghanistan to modern day London, where he's quickly embroiled in a web of organised crime, international intelligence agencies and high stakes action. The game is described as an action narrative, and I would say it absolutely delivers on both parts of that. Action flows from the get-go in this game. It is intense, substantial, and breathtaking to be the centre stage of it. As it's all delivered in virtual reality, you are quite literally in the middle of it at all times. This intense action is interspersed with narrative components, which is delivered in line with some of the British gangster movie classics like Snatch and Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. Now, I will acknowledge that this might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I loved it. It's witty, well acted, and well executed. Modelling of the characters is spot on and really adds to the atmosphere that this game builds. It's still obviously a game. We're not in the uncanny valley in VR quite yet, but everything that's been produced here is among the best realised I've seen on VR yet on any platform. Now, the game itself is an enhanced on-rail shooter, which can be played either with a standard PS4 controller or a pair of PS Move controllers. It doesn't have any support for the aim controller, which is kind of a shame, but I would wholeheartedly recommend using the Move controllers for this anyway. It is the way to play this game. It allows for a full separation between what your hands are doing and what your head is doing in the thick of things. It's way more immersive than a standard controller, and therefore more fun. I love the way that the action is handled in this game. Your opponents are plentiful, and there are some really nifty things that you can do in this game to make you feel like the badass SAS operative that you are. Aside from pistols, you have rifles that are stabilized if you grab the foregrip area, meaning you sacrifice an offhand weapon for more lethality with your primary gun. Grenades also pop up in the game and are a personal favourite of mine, once I could figure out how to use them properly anyway. My first few fumbles resulted in the game over screen before I got the hang of pulling the pins, only to find out that I could pull the pins with my teeth by reaching up to my face with the Move controller that the grenade was in. How cool is that? Because of its linear design and pacing, movement is done through a series of waypoints in each level instead of teleportation or free movement. These set you up with your cover elements during encounters and fun new weapons, and the puzzle elements will pop up at various points in your adventure. Motion is fluid, and it's easy to continue engaging with some baddies whilst you're in between waypoints as well. For FPS VR games, I'm an advocate of free motion over teleportation any day of the week, but I found this to be a good compromise between the two systems. It's like they've put particular efforts into ensuring that your movement has a good flow to it. There's no jarring or jolting hops, and I like that. Its on-rails nature does show itself if you try and move back through the level at any point. You're basically unable to, outside of taking a few steps behind you to pick up a weapon or some ammo that you may have overlooked. Now, a single playthrough of this game will take about 6 hours to complete, which isn't a lot in itself, but those hours are action-packed. It's as close as I've experienced yet as being in a movie, and I honestly want to get some of my mates round to the house so that I can sit them down and watch them play through it for the first time and experience it as I have. Once you've done the story, there are a series of time trials that you can take part in, which are fun, and there are promises of more content to come. But this is where the crux of this game is going to hit you. In New Zealand, this game is listed at $70 on the PS Store, which may seem a little steep for a game with a shortish initial playtime and not a whole lot of extra content at the time of release once you've wrapped it up. There are collectible items and targets for you to hit throughout each of the levels, which lends itself to longevity. I'll admit that I don't often go for the 100% complete marker on games myself, as I don't have the time, generally speaking. But I am tempted for this one, so it will be seeing a lot more than just 6 hours for me.
I love that.
Now I am going to give this one a 9 out of 10. I love it. I think it's possibly one of the best crafted VR experiences that I have encountered so far. It is a huge amount of fun to play through, and there is enough to do beyond that initial playthrough of the game to get value from that $70 New Zealand spend. You've got to play with the Move controllers though. I cannot stress that enough. It's the difference between a fun game and an epic experience. So thanks very much for checking out this review, and if you're still with us, don't forget to check out our social media channels. We're in all the places like IG, Twitter and Facebook, and if you're new, please do comment, fave, subscribe and notify to our channel so that you can get more news and reviews from our little Kiwi corner of the world. Feel free to check out our other videos, and if this is the end of your time with us here on the Empire today, then I have been your resident tech and gaming guy Dave, and I will see you